So I'd break it off right here. Now it's dead nuts.
It's time for some bass smashing action.
Hey every people, it's time for a quick update on the project. You might notice that this looks a little bit different up front here. We actually brought these guys down lower and we got rid of the little spacer block that we had underneath these 2x4s. There's a couple reasons for that. When I put the 1/2-inch sheet of plywood on this, the space that we have from here to here is about 20 inches. Now that's too far for the 1/2-inch plywood to span. I stood on it, it held me, especially over these guys. It was rock solid. These are rock solid, that's not going anywhere. But there was a lot of flex in the plywood, and then out here on the edges, plywood doesn't run all the way to the wall because we want to be able to put carpet down and around it. If I had stepped on this, on 1/2-inch plywood, that I'd break it off right here. So I was talking to a buddy of mine. I was going to try to attach like an L bracket here, a metal L bracket, and then have a 2x4 span this to kind of add support somewhere in the middle. But I wasn't really comfortable with that because it wasn't going to be all that strong. And he said, you know, if you're willing to take on like an additional 15 pounds, you could drop those 2x4s in the front, and then you could take 2x4s to span the entire width of the boat from left to right. And because this bracket, like the original 2x4 had the block underneath and it was flush with that front part, they're so wide that it's going to take two 2x4s for this to be flush. So I like this extra block of wood in here because I think as there's pressure put on this, hopefully it pushes against the aluminum a little bit and kind of disperses it. Because that whole front part is solid. It's covered in all my tools and crap right now, you can't really tell. But I want the plywood to sit on that because that won't move at all. So now, since we dropped down 1.5 inches, which is the thickness of a 2x4, we can set, I'm probably going to use 4 and set them about 12 inches apart. 1, 2, 3, and then all the way up on the front here. And so what that's going to do is it's going to give me a much more solid foundation to stand on, but it's going to touch the edges. It's literally going to go all the way from the left, all the way to the right, and it's going to add support when the sides try to flex a little bit. So this whole front end of the boat now, it's going to be a little bit heavier, but it's going to be rock solid. I'm gonna cover this front part with carpeted panel, and I'm going to put a hinge here with a door, so I can put big old net under here. I'm probably going to put some carpet down straight to the aluminum, just so it's not really noisy. Right there is going to be primary storage for probably not tackle so much. It'll probably be more net, anchor, things like that. In one of the future videos, what I'll do is I'll get the approximate weight of what I've added to the front here. The weight on an 8-foot 2x4 is about, I think it's about 11.5 pounds or something. It's like 1.2 pounds per foot. So the 2x4, pretty darn light. The plywood piece, that's about 45 pounds for an 8x4 sheet that's 1/2 inch thick. So that's 1/2 inch thick. That's probably, on average, probably 3.5 by 4.5. So I'm guessing that that's about 25 to 30 pounds of plywood. The good news is that I think we're only adding about 50 to 65 pounds for the casting deck when it's all said and done. I did check on a 14-foot boat like this. On average, what I'm finding is that they say with your motor and your gear and everything, 550 pounds is about what you want to load it with. And most places are saying, you know, at a max, put about 2 people in here. So that's kind of where we're at. A little bit different setup. Oh, one other quick thing. When I adjusted this, I took some time and made sure that these guys were completely level to where they're connecting on the front. And the way I did that, I was able to just cut with the miter saw. They're just little spacers. This guy was perfect, and then this guy I needed to kind of tweak a little bit. Threw some wood glue between them, and then I screwed straight. That's a 4-inch screw that goes down through everything. The bottom is still carriage bolted to the brace. So I took a little extra time with that. Last time it was pretty close, but now it's dead nuts. So this whole thing is level, but it's difficult because, I mean, look at the floor. The floor itself is not level. So I had this guy and this guy the exact same height. I did them both at the same time. And this sat slightly lower because of the floor. There's a dent in the floor compared to over here. Now this is a 35-year-old boat, you know, you'll have that. But so we'll post another one soon. Oh, I need to hit that trailer today too. That's a whole other thing. I need to hit the rust spots on that. Hopefully I'm able to do some work on that too. But so that's where we're at, guys. We will see you in the next one. Thanks.